I need to do my live post shit.
Oh, come on and go live, baby. Come on and go. Come on and go. Man, I can't beatbox no more. I'm still my lips still.
You went to Canada once and now you can't beatbox anymore. See what happens? See what happens?
It's so weird the things you learn you can't do when you're injured. You know what I'm saying? I learned the first one in the bathroom, and I just learned a couple other ones just now. But it is what it is. And by that I mean wiping. Calm down, homeboy. Hey, we're good. Hey,
Elaborate. I'm a little concerned.
You was a wild boy. What's going on, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. It's Saturday, and we go ahead and talk about some of this good old geek stuff. Please do us a favor before you do anything and tell your friends, family, come on in. The water's fine. We gonna go ahead and talk about this over some wine. Sit, talk, me, you, yours, and mine. Let's have a good time. Oh yeah, I'm rhyme. Some of that rhymes. Some of it didn't. I don't know. We tried anyway. Good morning. Today we got a lot of stuff to discuss, everybody. So let's go ahead and get right on into it. I, of course, am your boy, the real Miss Taylor. Holla at your boy, healing up. I am with, of course, me. We got the rest of the crew. Well, most of us. We got Yasmin, the Yasmin Queen. Hallelujah. We've got the homeboy, Bad Tie Breaks, and we've got good tie breaks. Not just playing. His name ain't tie breaks. And of course, we all here. We expected a couple more. Maybe Stephanie will pop up. Maybe even Nolly. We'll see what's going on. But either way, today we're gonna go ahead and do what we do, nerdy style. And there's a lot to talk about, man. Let's just kick off with a couple of headlines. For those of y'all who don't know, if you checked your Disney Plus, you'll notice that Thor is now available on your Disney Plus, the movie. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it. All right, Pinocchio is now screening, which is something I plan to rush to not see. I'm gonna keep it real. I have zero interest in this movie, and I'm frankly tired of Disney completely redoing animated movies and making them live action exactly the way anyway, we'll talk about that as well. Now, this happened a few weeks ago, but Giancarlo Esposito is lobbying to become Professor X. And I mean lobbying, like this isn't a guy who's like, sure, I'll play it. But he's like, we talked about a bunch of different parts. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to speak it into existence. It's Professor X. There's a lot of other stuff going on as well. The House of Dragon dropped a dope episode, probably one of the dopest yet, in my opinion. And its counterpart, Rings of Power, unfortunately had to do the walk back. Hey, we stand with our cast. Please stop hitting us with racism stuff. But we'll go ahead and begin the day with what I thought was the event of the week, and that is She-Hulk smash. No, not you, Meg. I'm talking about She-Hulk. She was like, nah, bro, I'm gonna go ahead and take my little man with me to the room. We're gonna go ahead and do the little doo-doo. It's like, oh my God, I cannot believe they deleted. Man, that joint was on my screen, but it is what it is. So this is what we're going to talk about, man. Let's go ahead and get it started. It's the New Blurred Order. What's up, Yvette?
Hey, guys. I love the New Blurred Order. You should, too.
Whoa. Right, let's get on talking about whether or not it's okay for these women's with superpowers to take their men to the bedroom and do what they do. I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was kind of dope, man, but that's beside the point. What's going on, guys? This is a New Blurred Order. We here this morning once again to discuss all these things that happened this week, and of course the lawyer show, She-Hulk. Now I ain't gonna lie, it's a pretty busy week. What's up, Nolly? Good to see you. And shout out to the homie Stephanie, who's not feeling well. We miss you and always hope things are going well. But real quick, man, I got a chance to check out everything this week. It was a content full week, while we played Jigsaw Puzzle with the squares. And there's a lot of stuff to discuss. If I can keep it real, let's just go ahead and start it off. There's a lot of stuff to discuss. We talked about She-Hulk having smashed officially now, all right, which is a thing. Because in the comics, evidently, it was a thing. It's not that strange for this to happen. We mentioned the House of the Dragon, which this week's episode was really dope. We also had this week's episode of Rings of Power, which is where I kind of would like to start. So before we get into She-Hulk smashing and Hulk and Disney Plus and all the things that they're doing, I would like to just really quick address some of the stuff going on with Rings of Power. if we could just keep it real and keep it 100. So as we all know, since Rings of Power released their first trailer, they have been hit with a onslaught of backlash. I mean, I don't even know if it's backlash. It's just been straight hatred. I mean, I don't even know. At first I was confused. We had some of our commenters in from last week that were kind of just telling us about how it's just bad writing. It's not really the story itself. It's not the what they call the diversity casting. It's just bad writing. The show isn't really giving us what what J.R. Tolkien envisioned for the world of Lord of the Rings. And I still disagree. I still think that this show gives me almost the exact same feel that I did when I first watched the first Lords of the Rings. Even The Hobbit, for those haters of that, I mean, the images still stay the same. The only thing that I noticed different in this show is the casting, honestly, and frankly, it is a little slow. I will say that it is a little slow. But real quick, guys, I just want to go over this now. First of all, out of everybody here, did everybody get a chance to watch the show? I'm assuming everybody got a chance to watch the show. Before we discussed some of the weird going-ons in the world about it, why don't we at the very least give a thumbs up, thumbs down, or who knows, maybe a meh for whatever it was that we felt about this show. Now, keep in mind, this show did give us some new melanated characters for us to celebrate. But let's go ahead. In the count of three, man, I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a meh. I'm going to go ahead and take it down in 1, 2, 3, and We got okay. All right, we got 2 thumbs up. All right, let's. I'm the only one that's a little skeptical. Okay, all right, cool. Well, yes, you look like you got 2 thumbs up. What's going on, Yas? Why you like it so much? Tell us.
I don't know. I kind of just like the scenery and just like it's fucking beautiful. Like there's really nothing to not like about it. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking beautiful. Like just the angles, the costumes. It's beautiful. And I'm not really big. I'm not gonna lie to you guys on like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I have not watched, I don't think, any of the Hobbit movies, to be honest with you. I've watched Lord of the Rings like a while ago when I was a kid, but this is like kind of getting me re-submerged back into the lore, and like falling back in love with, like just what makes this so amazing and why so many people like just love these saga and series. It's beautiful. It has a great storyline, but yes, this is a little bit slower than I would have liked it, the pace wise. But I mean, I like where they're going. We're building it up to, like where we're leading to. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty good show so far. I love Galadriel, the main character. I like her spirit. This bitch don't quit, and I love that about her. Like she was supposed to freaking go to like eternity and be a fucking just living life in peace, and she jumped off the ship to like almost die. You know what I'm saying? Like she's I love her gumption. So I don't know, this story is really cool, and I like I can't remember what the name of the black elf is, but I really like his storyline so far. Adadar, is that what it is? Arendor. Okay, something like that. Okay, thank you. I was close. But yeah, I don't know. I really like this show and like where it's going. I'm just kind of excited to see where we lead to.
Okay. Was there anything specific about this episode, Yaz, that you thought was particularly dope? Or I mean, sounds like you just loving the series?
I did like about this episode was the fact that they finally realized that the Southlands is shaped like because I realized that when they first started talking about it, and like they showed us the map and everything, and I was like, that's where that dude came from, and he was just literally fucking telling y'all, you know what I'm saying? So it's really cool, like finding the pieces inside here and just like them meshing together and kind of just exploding for you to kind of just see them. So I don't know, I'm really enjoying the ride, I guess you could say.
Dope. Bad Ty. You had 2 thumbs up on a swivel. What's your opinion, homeboy? What you think about the episode?
Yeah, like I'm glad to finally have been able to watch all of the episodes. It was tough, man. I was falling asleep a lot. But now that I've had an opportunity to watch the full season, I'd have to agree with Yaz. I think what makes this such a really good series is that they went bigger than life. They magnified everything. Like when they showed up in Numenor or whatever.
Numenor.
What it is, Numenor. So when they showed up there and the camera basically panned them entering through this island city, and you see all of these beautifully sculpted wall, like mountain faces and all of that kind of stuff, like that whole individual standing above the city, like you can't, like that like as a visual, this for me is a visual masterpiece. Like
sure.
this is what you talk about when you're talking about production and quality and everything. Those millions and millions of dollars that they spent on this show, you can absolutely see
Hell yeah.
where the money was invested, and I'm here for it.
Okay. Dig it. So you just now getting up. So you just saw the first 2 episodes too.
I'd literally watched all 3 episodes yesterday. I've tried it, like since last week. I tried to watch the first 2 episodes, and each time I kept falling asleep on the first episode. So
right.
Finally, I was like, all right, we just got pushed through, and it was tough. But I mean, it wasn't because it was bad. It was just I don't know. I guess the pace is really slow. So
I would like to say perhaps a sativa might make you stay awake a little longer rather than the indica, but that's a whole other subject, homeboy. Nolly, what you think? Miss, you're a mystical creature yourself, some would say. What do you think about the episode?
First checking, can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So for me, I loved this episode because they're finally name dropping. Because remember, Aragorn is Isildur's heir, and we finally know Isildur, and we know Isildur's not like his great grandpa. Like we know it's down the line of succession. Right. And I'm gonna piggyback off of the scenery. Like when they got to Numenor, it reminded me so much of that scene in the Fellowship of the Ring, where they're sailing past the Argonath, the Pillars of the Kings. That are, like the king statues that have their hands out or whatever, like when Frodo and them are on their way when they start their journey. And I was like, that gives me such movie vibes. It's like a good little nod to it. And the scenery is just so beautiful. Like they really used all their budget. That's a big ass budget. And they're giving us movie quality for a TV show. And I could not be happier. I did have one complaint though.
I gotta say, you hit on to something I wanted to talk about, and that is definitely when I heard the name Isildur, I perked up like, oh shit, Isildur. You know what I'm saying? And that I mean, you watch the first movie, and that's a big deal. Good tie. Your thoughts, bro? You had 2 thumbs up like everybody else.
Yeah, everybody's hitting the nail right on the head. I think outside of just being just gorgeous to look at, the what they're doing with these beautiful establishing shots and these wide shots of these fantastical mystical cities and ports and stuff it's bringing us into the world. Like we're really like they're establishing and building this world so vividly and with so much detail that we're just there without even thinking about it. And it puts you real deep into the story, and that's and they use every moment and every shot to do that. I don't think, well, I do understand when people say the pacing is a little bit slow. I still don't think a single moment of the show is wasted. I think that they use that time to build this world. They use that time to really build these characters. So now that we're getting into the 3rd episode, like I really feel like we have a really good idea who these people are, the journeys they're going to be on, what we might see coming forward. They're just executing so well on every level. So I'm just really impressed by this show. I went in, expecting it to be good, but like I think the show's like good.
Wow. Really good. Okay. Damn. Well, listen, I agree with y'all. I will say that after the first 2 episodes, this one was a little slower paced for me. The first 2, I think, were pretty jam packed with action. I mean, it was everywhere. This one, I know that they gave us, an elf versus orc battle, which is always cool, especially being at orcs. I thought we were going to get some more elf and orc lore. I really like to see how the elves turn into orcs. But that's the whole thing. But I thought it was a little bit of a setback in terms of the speed and pace. However, I did, of course, like the show. I like the fact that they did give us a queen of this freaking man. This place is hard to
Numenor.
Numenor. Numenor has its queen. All right, and so every episode we get a newer melanated member of the cast. Right now, this is the most melanated I've seen any J.R.R. Tolkien project, and frankly, it is being felt amongst the population, and I think that people are threatened by it. Here's the unfortunate downside of the Rings of Power. As much as we all just stated everything that we love about it, some of the stuff that we love is some of the same reasons some folks hate it, almost to the point where Rings of Power is getting so much hatred, y'all, and the cast once again is getting these threats, these inboxes, and having all of these tweets that Rings of Power had to do the racial walk back, and they had to do that thing where they do. We've already seen this happen multiple times this year. Rings of Power comes out and says, hey, look, we are in solidarity with our cast. Like, they have to keep on walking these things back. It is Star Wars all over again because of Reva. These things keep happening. Look at what they have to say to everybody. They're like, all right, look, we the cast of Rings of Power stand together in absolute solidarity against the relentless racism, threats, harassment, and abuse of some of our castmates of color are being subjected to on a daily basis. We refuse to ignore it or tolerate it. I mean, it's one of the things that just goes along with, as soon as you put black people in fantasy, you're no longer in a fantasy realm. Like, that seems to be what the case is. Finally, all of our love and that's finally, hold on, I got these out of order. J.R.R. Tolkien created a world which by definition is multicultural, a world in which free peoples from different races and cultures join together in fellowship to defeat the forces of evil. Rings of Power reflects that our world has never been all white. Let me say that again. Our world has never been all white. That doesn't mean J.R.R. Tolkien's. That's our world, the ones that we exist in. Fantasy has never been all white. Middle Earth is not all white. BIPOC belong in Middle Earth, and they are here to stay. Finally, all our love and fellowship go out to the fans supporting us. And this part right here, I ain't gonna lie, damn near made me tear up. Especially fans of color who are themselves being attacked simply for existing in this fandom. We see you. Your bravery and endless creativity, your cosplays, fan cams, fan art, and insights make this community a richer place and remind us of our purpose. You are valid, you are loved, you belong, and you are an integral part of the LOTR family. Thanks for having our backs. Namari, which I'm assuming is Elvish for stay black and die. I'm so sick of this happening, but frankly, we had this conversation after the podcast last week about how when folks are in a comfortable spot and they start to get pushed out of it to make way for other people to be comfortable, they become uncomfortable, Tyrone. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we're in the midst of a cultural shift in which we realize for the past 100 years, we have been writing stories and envisioning white characters as only as all that it is that the authors are talking about. And perhaps in many of these instances with the white authors, especially, maybe they were really only thinking of white characters. But we have now in a collective society in the 21st century decided to make that right, to right that wrong. And now those who did feel comfortable with what it was before find themselves at odds with what's being put together. Tyrone, am I close?
Yeah. I think the only thing I would disagree with is the push, them being pushed out part. I don't think it's that. Because we could still look and see that the any show that we see on TV, outside of like a few that are just made by and for like Black folks or Latino folks, every show is like every mainstream show is like majority white still. So nobody's being pushed out. We're just like, can we get a little space?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that pushback can be discouraging for sure. But I was talking to a friend about this same thing, and they said something that made me like it kind of brought me to the other side. It brought me back to encouragement because we're already kind of winning this. Like the studios are making these shows for the people like us who want to see this. They're making it so, and they're doubling down. They're like, hey, we hear you or whatever. Like we see all your little hate, but we're done with y'all. Y'all can be loud because they are very loud. It's not a majority of people, but it's a very loud minority. Yes. And they're pissed that they don't get to live in their little whites only world anymore. And they could be pissed because we already know we're going to keep getting this stuff and we're going to keep getting more of it. So, I've gotten to the point where it's unfortunate that we know that this is going to be a part of it. at least for a while moving forward as things do evolve. And I call it evolve. I don't even want to call it changing because it's evolving. It's getting better, you know. But it's good to know that, like Minnie said in the comments, it's good to know that the studios are making the right choice here, and they're saying we're not going backwards. You're not going to bully us into, you know, making things whiter and you know, and just removing people of color from our stuff. You know, we want it to be better. So it gives me encouragement. I hate to hear it, but it still gives me encouragement to know that we're still going to get it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it gets worse. Nolly, are you signaling? Okay, what's up?
So for me, it always boggles my mind that for years, decades even, white people have portrayed historically accurate Black people in biopics and based on true story movies. But the minute we get a minority in a fantasy world that's not real, it's always a big problem. But I'm so glad that studios are finally actually making statements about it, because we could fight all we want, but if the big bucks aren't backing us, then technically, you know, it's never going to go anywhere. So the fact that all these people are making statements and studios are standing behind their actors, like, it's a big thing. And hopefully in a couple of years it won't be a requirement that's gonna have to happen with everything that comes out. Unfortunately, it's the same people who love X-Men who scream, no, you're being too woke. And it's like, do you know what you support?
Right.
Do you read? Do you watch the movies? Like, so I just don't know what it is, but people be mad when you Black.
I have a feeling I know what it is, but we'll leave it on.
A little word starts with an R, ends with an M.
You know, the thing about it is, Nolly, is that it is possible to be ignorant of your own ignorance. You know, it is possible. You know what I'm saying? And I was that guy for a while, you know, as it pertained to, you know, sexual orientations. So I get it sometimes. I mean, I get that I don't get it. But Ty, what were you trying to say, bro?
I just wanted to say that I think if we take a step back, right? Because I had a conversation with a good friend of mine the other day, and it was very telling, right? He never knew that I was into the comic book stuff and the Marvel and the houses, the House of the Dragon. So when now that he knows that, he like basically let me know, hey, bro, I was always into that, but I didn't know you was always. We never talked about that, and I was like, well, when we was hanging out, we was doing other shit. We wasn't talking about like there was no reason for this conversation to come up. The reason I'm bringing this whole thing up and saying this is because if we as Black people didn't realize that other Black people were into comic book shit, what do you think white people thought about Black people? They didn't think this shit either. So what you're finding out is that there's a whole demographic that loves this fantastical world stuff and fantasy, and we didn't know that you guys loved it. Wow. So now let's include you guys so that you feel more connected to what it is that thing. So when I see these studios and these platforms writing all of this stuff, yes, it's good. Thank you. I appreciate it. And for a moment, I feel special. But then I have to think about it from the terms of a business standpoint. Like, I'm trying to get your dollars.
Of course.
So I'm going to make you feel as comfortable as I need you to be in order to get them dollars, if that's going to help me get them dollars. So you know, shout out to Disney. Shout out to Amazon Prime and all of these companies that are putting out these statements. But listen, you motherfuckers was racist all of this shit, all of this time before. Now you put out an apology like, we're so sorry we didn't give a fuck about y'all before.
I'm so proud right now.
So proud. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I wanted to put that out there that it has been a misconception for a very, very long time that Black people aren't into this shit.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Now it is very apparent that we've been into this shit. We are into this shit. We are this shit. You know what I'm saying? So like this, you know.
Wow. Okay, I just got our TikTok moment for the day. Well done, sir. I love the monologue. I don't know how long it took David Pluff to write that speech, man, but it was pretty freaking awesome, man. Yo, but he's 100% right. But here's the thing. Even in their omission of us as BIPOC, diverse, Black, whatever are we, they not only omitted us as fans, they omitted our dollars. Like before, they was like, fuck them dollars. You know what I'm saying? We don't need those dollars. You know, fuck that multi-trillion-dollar store that Black people basically support with their dollar. We don't need it because we got the other 85%. I know that's a fault. That's a false number. All right. I'm speaking not only just of white folks, but everybody outside of the 15% margin. You know, we don't need it. You know what I'm saying? And now what's happened is, and correct me if I'm wrong, and Tyrone, maybe you can speak to it. What's happened is the Black folks haven't just spoken up, but folks who support Black folks are starting to speak up, right? So that coalition has become more broad. So it's not just them, you know, caping for Black people. They're caping for folks who are caping for Black people, or at least feel like they are. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't always work, because then you'll have the counter, you know, opinions.
Yeah.
Folks like Ben Shapiro, who recently said of Lord of the Rings, stop giving your money to woke corporations who hate you. This is his quote. Or maybe your favorite person in the world, Tyrone, Elon Musk, who tweets out this about Lord of the Rings, here it is. Tolkien is turning in his grave. All right. Well, I think that the first thing you say is, okay, well, why? You know what I'm saying? And I think that he might have got a couple of retweets, a couple of tweets that was like, well, hold up, shut the fuck up. Why don't you worry about, you know, you're making your cars work? And then he was like, well, here's why. And he tried to use the every male character is a coward or a jerk or both. Well, isn't that enough? Why did what was so the male characters aren't to your liking?
Interesting that he totally forgot the existence of Arendor, the Afro Latino character who is brave and smart and not a jerk.
We know,
you know what I mean? Like, I think I know why he forgot to mention this person in his little diatribe, and also just generally fuck Elon Musk. Right. But and what I will say, and you know, this what you're saying brings up kind of what Ty was talking about, and ultimately, what they're realizing is that white supremacy is not as profitable as it once was. So now you're seeing people move away from it, but there is going to be pushback. Like Ben Shapiro is talking about woke corporations. Just so y'all know, anytime you hear them use the word woke, it's just the new N word. That's all it is. Woke is the new N word when it's used in this way. So when you hear it, just know that you're hearing that. So we can just stop pretending to be having some sort of like philosophical debate and just know that it's just white supremacy, just wrapped up. It's just wrapped up in a different package, and it's not as profitable as it used to be. So as long as we keep doing what we're doing, having these conversations, enjoying this stuff that's coming out, you know, and granted, it is money. You know what I mean? Ultimately, we live in a world where it does always come down to money. If all of a sudden those eyes started closing and the dollars dried up, companies might make a different decision. But right now we have to make our presence known. We have to make it known that this is the kind of stuff that we want to see. And so far they're getting the idea.
100% yes. Real quick, before I get you to, because I think you're the best at breaking down these shows. I just think that this is interesting how these are some of the things that are being said. Like the one of the main complaints about this show from those who are lowering out their issues. For one, let me just say this outright. If your complaints around the show are completely centric to the plot, to a character arc, if it's completely centric to the pace, to the backgrounds, I have no qualm with you. If it's all 100% production, if it's that, I have zero issue. But if it's because you don't like to see colors that you didn't imagine when you read it, or because these aren't the colors that you originally saw on the screen when you first saw the movie, then you're the asshole. All right. This is about you. And here's what they try to use. They try to use the book like it's the Bible. Right. And then this is why this is one of the things that kind of, you know, had me dial back on believing a little bit, because it all comes down to interpretation. Right. Like, let's just follow this. Let's follow this real quick. Yes. Follow me for a second. So one of the things is this guy says, listen, you know, y'all missed the point. Yes, different races. After Lord of the Rings says, look, we're supporting our races. He says, yes, different races, but you have to get the races right. All right. Elves are a race of specific characteristics. If you change those characteristics, then it's not the same by definition. I posed this to Yaz, but I should have posed it to Nali because I know Nali has read the books, and I know Yaz, she just literally said, I don't really fuck with this shit. Yeah, literally was just like, I don't really fuck with this shit like that, but I'm liking the show.
I'm dipping my toes in. Okay.
I shouldn't say she don't fuck with it, but she hasn't watched it as much. But here's the thing, Nali. You said that you. I don't know if you read the books, the J.R. Tolkien. I know the Hobbit was a lot shorter. I don't know if these books. I don't think the Rings of Power are based on books. I think they're based on the lore.
So they weren't able to get the rights to Children of Udin and the Silmarillion, so they're loosely based on story. I think they were able to get some rights to his book, The Unfinished Tales, where he just kind of just babbles about characters that he mentioned here and there, but they weren't able to get the rights. So it's just loosely based. They're able to use some names because I think they worked with Peter Jackson a little bit on right management, but it's not based on the books. It's like a whole, not entirely different story, but like a remix,
I can mess with the P. Diddy remix. So this is exactly what I mean, y'all, when I speak on interpretation. All right. And this is why I wish Stephanie was here. Stephanie, I hope you feel better. But I specifically had this question for you, because I know me and you both did the Hunger Games thing. So this is exactly what this guy, remember this guy just now, he said, it should be specific characteristics of the race. So watch this. So here's a quote from the actual J.R.R. Tolkien book. All right. Let me just read some of the stuff it says here. All right, elves has been used to translate both kindy. I'm gonna skip all the way down to the very bottom, to the underlined part where it says elves, and they're speaking of elves here. Race high and beautiful, the older children of the world. Among them were the elders, kings now are gone, people of great journeys. They were tall, fair of skin, and gray-eyed. Tall, fair of skin, and gray-eyed. So I want to focus on 3 words: fair of skin, and how you as a person define fair of skin. Because when I was coming up in college, when we described a fair-skinned woman, we described women that were light-skinned. You know what I'm saying? Like that was fair. If somebody was talking about, her skin is fair. You know what I'm saying? Especially like in the Caribbean world, I think they use that term a little more than we do. We say light skin. Americans, we be like light skin. Oh, she's so light skinned it. She high yellow. You know what I'm saying? Red bone. But like the Caribbean folks, they'll be like, oh, she's fair. Especially folks from like Europe, they say fair skin. And fair, from where I interpret it as, is just meant to be lighter skin. Doesn't mean pale. It doesn't mean blonde. It doesn't mean white, so to speak. It just means of lighter skin, if I'm not mistaken. And that describes this elf. The dude's a light-skinned elf. You know what I'm saying? He's not dark. He's not like, there's nothing atypical, with the exception of the fact that he's not 6-something feet tall. I think he's supposed to be like hella tall. So they only take issue with the changing of the color. And I think that's indicative when folks say stuff like this. Oh shoot, my bad. That was meant to be one of the good joints. Anyway, but anyway, my point is taking like they're basically trying to say, dang, where'd it go? The one that was, here it is. Yeah, the one like this. The race. This dude's whole entire issue, and that's just one guy. Even though it's like half a thousand likes, I do believe that is a sentiment. One thing that happens is that when you watch and don't see what you thought you were going to see, and cannot rest well with what it is that you see, you can't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, fortunately for you, you haven't had any preconceived, predisposed motions of what this is. You're watching it just as is, and as a result, you just enjoy it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's captivating. How could you not enjoy it? It's got a good storyline. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just all those things that people of our lore, who love nerdy lore, just it grabs you, it pulls you in. So I mean,
Right. So real quick. Oh, what's up, Tyrone?
I was just gonna see if I don't know if I have the authority to do this, but I did want to make an offer just to to the racists and stuff. If y'all if y'all give us Jesus back across the board, you could have the elves. We'll trade you just one for one. We get Jesus, you get the elves. Just let me know. Hit me up in the DMs or whatever for whoever has the authority to make this change. Because in that book, in the original book, they talked about Jesus. Doesn't look like these pictures, so just let us know.
All right,
being the representative of the Black fantasy delegation.
Yeah, me, please. The racial draft will be held at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here. Don't go anywhere, everybody. Yeah, man. Feet bronze is burnt in the furnace does not sound like Caesar Borgia. I'll say that much, but hey, it is what it is. Yes. Do you remember what happened on this episode? And if so, could you remind us?
Yeah, for the Rings of Power episode, absolutely. Okay, so basically Galadriel and her friend, what the hell was his name? Hole something?
Yeah, you're right. Holbrand.
That's what it is. I was close. I was fucking close. That's all I gotta say. All right, so Galadriel and Holbrand basically are still out to sea, and they actually get picked up by a ship, and this ship actually takes them to this beautiful country called, what was it called again? Numenor. And Numenor has got this, oh my god, like the scenery was just incredible going into it. It's got these beautiful statues. It's just rich and just beautiful, and the colors were amazing, and so were like just the culture. So they ended up getting stranded here. We found out that elves and humans have not been actually friendly on this island where they used to be for centuries, and now they haven't been for, I don't know, over hundreds of years now because of whatever the king decided and decreed there. So the people overruled him, and they decided they didn't want to, share it with elven life anymore, or their cultures anymore. So they basically closed off their city to all elf cultures. And the shipmaster, he is on possible trial for treason for bringing them here, even though he saved their lives. So basically, we just get to see a little bit more about their journey to this island Numenor, and how they figure out how Saffron, that's his name, right? Saffron. He's not a herb, my bad. Saffron is basically taking over the Southlands, and he's ruining all of the lands under wraps. Not really anybody knows what's going on except for the people that are in the Southlands. So we get to see definitely some cool stuff. We got to see this boss ass fight between, God, I can't remember this dude's name. I swear. I'm blanking on these. They're so difficult, man. Like, God damn. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, this guy is this handsome strapping Latino and Latino and black man right here. He had this epic showdown in the Southlands with the orcs, and I thought it was pretty cool how he tried to free his people, and then realized that they're fucked. They're surrounded. There's like no way of them escaping ever. So I know it's pretty interesting to see like his journey and where it's going to go to, and how he's going to basically free himself, because obviously we know he's got like the spirit of like Galadriel. He's not giving up. He doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna try and get out and save people as much as he can. So I know this episode is pretty cool. Definitely, we learned that Galadriel and Halbrand are somehow connected by just destiny, and they basically are going to lead into a new era of trying to bring down Saffron. So yeah, it was a pretty like cool episode. It had some slow points, leading up to, but it was pretty sick. I definitely enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there was some real significant. Oh, Ty, what's up, bro?
I was just gonna say, like, I noticed that none of us have mentioned anything about this individual that has fell out of the fucking sky.
Oh, the
I was about to get into that. I
forgot about him. I forgot about him.
Literally what I was about to say.
My bad.
I keep forgetting about him.
I was going there.
Before we move on, can I motion to forever call Sauron Saffron?
She did
Saffron forever and ever, amen. And that's it.
Saffron. Yo, that's why I like Yaz to describe everything. That's she'll make up a name and stick with it, yo.
She said it
Crown's
was
coming, yo.
conviction too.
So the eye of saffron is on all of us right
It
now.
sounded good for a second. Okay? You can't be mad at it. It sounded
I love
good.
it. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Yo,
At least
Tyrone
you didn't
did
say
the punch
Ultron.
line.
I'm hating on my man. I'm waiting for his return. I'm waiting.
Yo, well, Ty brings up a good point, man. I did. All right. So one of the storylines that Yaz mentioned is along with the Harfoots or Harfeet, the brand,
Forgot about them,
whomever that
yes.
is. The Harfeets, one of these young ladies right here. This is our kind of our Frodo Baggins character. I think from this episode, from this series, kind of I want to see the world. This is the Little Mermaid, and as in her treks to do things outside of the village that she feels constrained to, she stumbles upon this man who seems to have come from the sky. I, for one, have a pretty strong idea, a strong opinion about who I think this is, and I think that y'all thinking the same thing that I am.
No idea.
Gandalf.
Nolly's like, you're wrong.
Now, I
I
think it's
don't think
Gandalf.
it's Gandalf.
I think it's Gandalf too. The Gandalf the Grey, because remember he started off Gandalf the Grey, I believe.
Yep, I think it's Gandalf.
I thought so until I saw Nolly shaking her head like that, and she knows too much about this shit. So I'm like, it's not Gandalf, y'all. It's not Gandalf anymore.
Yeah, I thought so too. Nolly, she got me shook too a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Like, Nolly's got inside information.
Can I ask a question real quick before we?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay, so Gandalf, is he like the only tall motherfucker in this whole
Compared to
tall?
them,
Is that why we
definitely.
assume that it was
Compared to the
Gandalf?
hobbits and stuff, yeah.
Well, first of all,
Elves.
Elves and like that's what I'm saying. Like, is he like the tall? Like he's like the jolly green giant of everybody, basically.
well, okay. Can I get this? No, go ahead, Nolly. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he should be the same size as elves. They're like technically like the same height. It's just he looked big next to little people.
Yeah, the Harfoot are tiny.
Angles got him looking like he's 6'8". Understood.
Well, keep in mind the Harfeet are like what the elves that we imagine in like the Keebler elves. You know what I'm saying? They're like so them compared to, and which is in the tradition of Lord of the Rings, in J.R. Tolkien, you're always going to have height comparison models, which I love, frankly. But
that helped me because now he's the same size as the elf, so he's not like significantly taller. Because I'm like, why?
I actually think that Gandalf in particular, I can't speak for wizards, but I think Gandalf in particular is a little taller than your average elf. He in Lord. Now I don't want to go against Nolly. She, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want no smoke. Unless it's the finest weed in all of the Shire.
I just need like a long pipe that Bilbo had.
Ooh, he was blowing a hole. He blew a spotty face. Hey, this dude blew a spotty face emoji, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's real smoking right there. But
Ben, real quick, how would Smeagol sound if he was smoking that Shire weed?
Smeagol be like, slop hooples, and then he'd be like this.
They can say that's thing. Do it.
Oh
I cannot.
I would straight smoke some Smeagol, bro. Give me some of that good old Smeagol, bro. Roll it on up.
Need someone to come out with that brand.
I would smoke Lord of the Rings. Fresh from Middle Earth, bitch. Hell yeah, bro. This is
Skip on the way, y'all. Skip on the way. Skip on the way.
But Gandalf, I thought was just Gandalf towers in the movies. I can't speak for the books because I didn't read The Hobbit. You know what I'm saying? But in the movies, he kind of was a gargantuan, not like a giant. He's not like a cave troll or
He
but
could have been in the NBA.
Yeah, I'd say probably in this.
He's like
over
6'8". That's what I'm saying. He's a big, tall dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, I
Yeah,
saw a
yeah.
6'8" dude the other day, and I asked him how tall he was, and I was like, "Yo, you're a full like foot and 3 inches taller than me, bro. I'm 5'6". He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Stand next to me real quick." We were walking out of Walmart, and he totally did it too. I was like, "What the fuck? you're freakishly tall.
A
Yeah,
dude
it
like
was
that, you're like looking directly in his eye when
I
you standing.
didn't kind of crouch into that, but I mean, yeah, it was crazy.
Ty, what's up, man?
I was just gonna say that I don't think Ian McKellen is that tall, but I'm gonna look it up. But I think what made him look so towering in the movies is that whenever you encountered Gandalf in the movies,
Yeah,
typically it was when he was meeting with the hobbits. So he's going into hobbit homes. So you gotta like duck down and all of that kind of stuff because these are very small homes.
Right.
And then whenever they would like pair him in scenes, they would pair him with smaller people, dwarves, hobbits, everything like that. You would always see him in scenes with like Aragon and stuff like that, where they're like sitting down or something like that or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know if he's really that tall as it seems, or that it looks that way because he's standing next to the Harfoot. Same way with this individual that I said, that fell from the sky. If I don't even know how tall, like if we're doing like scales, where do the Harfoot scale against hobbits? Are they the same race? Are they a different race? Are they shorter? Are they taller?
I think that Harfoots, Nolly, this is one of the things you are great at.
So there are 3 types of hobbits, and Harfoots are one of them.
Oh shit! What are the other 2? You weren't ready for the pop quiz. I'll let you hit the Google machine if you want. But yeah, man. So
one of the comments got us 5'11" according to Google. Oh, Sabis, thanks for pulling up with the.
Oh, so 5'11" for Ian McKellen, right?
5'11".
What I'm saying, 5'11", right?
I guess it's 5. But again, that don't mean nothing. Tom Cruise is 5'10" according to Google. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Tom Cruise is 4'11". You know what I mean? So I mean, I'm not saying that he's not 5'11", but my point is, in the movie, I think that his character was meant to depict a taller than life character. You know what I'm saying? Even taller than the men. He was taller than Boromir, and he was taller than Aragorn, and even Legolas. So and they didn't have to make him that way because I'm pretty sure he's probably naturally average height. But it's interesting because the Harfoots or the Harfeet, or we got to discuss how we
Harfoots, yeah,
the Harfoots.
Yeah.
Oh, Dark Crest with the in.
Oh, what's up, Dark
Secret? Dark Secret up in the house. Sorry, Dark Secret. Your name is not Dark Crest. You have been renamed.
I'm just like
Saffron and Dark Crest. Got it.
Sounds like a really scary toothpaste. But nah, like so with them, I kind of started to get the sense that they were hobbits, not only because of something they said in this episode. They said she hasn't even grown enough hair on her feet yet, which is like, you're like, okay, that's some hobbit shit. You know what I'm saying? And also, when you listen to their last names, like they're like, oh, their last name is Brandy Feet, and like, if you remember, like when Bilbo did his going away party, he was shouting out, hey, to the Bisms to the Bigglemackles and the Bruff Feet. You know what I'm saying? And, so it sounded very Hobbit-esque. So I could see where that's coming from. What about this dude right here, man? I forget what is it? Halbrand, right? Or at least if that's your real name. This dude straight pulled freaking Jason Bourne, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know what's going on with this character. I'm still confused as to why he's still alive. Like, huh?
I said, you talk about with the character. I want to know what's going on with that bump. Yo, who got the whole herpes? He got the whole herpes.
Oh no!
Oh, I didn't even see. Oh wow!
Listen, he was
I'm so glad
he's All right, this man was stranded at sea. That could just be like some sub-blistering.
He just going through it.
He was marooned. Remember.
This dude just came from sea, where he was attacked by probably got bit in the face.
Fish with herpes.
Shame, man. Yeah, you have no chill, homeboy. Like he's talking about that bump. I was like, is he pregnant? Like,
I know, right?
What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, well, hey, listen. I don't know if they have Valtrex in Middle Earth. So I don't know if he might just have to rock that one for a little bit. But
Gotta rock
or what, I don't know what, do we Nolly? Is this dude lore? Is this dude? Do we know what's going on with this guy? What should we know about? I mean, any info, any inside info?
I think he's just a placeholder because they don't have rights to that part of the story.
Okay.
So, I think they're just pulling names and creating characters of significance so they could tie story together, because he's not in the books.
Okay. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing what he's about. I mean, it's clearly not whatever it is that we thought. I mean, the dude, we thought he was some punk ass little bitch. You know what I'm saying? And then he went straight Bruce. That was impressive. I ain't gonna lie. That was pretty cool. So we'll look to see what he has in store. And then there was his last scene that I want to talk about, and that was with Galadriel, and she gets really happy, like uncomfortably happy, on this horse. What was that about? Does anybody have any idea why, like, she felt so at home? What was this episode is kind of about her kind of being, not really having a political tongue. She doesn't really know how to speak. She's just all warrior. No, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. No diplomacy about her. And this other gentleman, Halbrand, happens to help her damn near keep herself from being in prison. But like, what's going on with her, Tyrone?
Yeah, as somebody who was descended from a white woman, I know how much they love riding horses on the beach. So
I'm done.
Just a happy moment, just doing what they do.
Shit.
I really just think, as she was just happy to just be doing some shit that she wanted to do. I think it was just like, she was like, oh wait, we get to ride on, like, she was just having a good time.
I'm done, dude. I'm fucking done. He's totally right though, because when I get on the back of a horse and I'm just like galloping, it's so much fun. I'm not gonna lie. I love riding horses. They're my favorite. I can't wait to get my own farm. I really
Yo, so wait a minute. Am I the only one on here who is not free, who doesn't have a horse? Who hasn't ridden?
I mean, I have friends who have horses. I don't have horses. Like, I live in
Of
town
all
now.
the Caucasian shit you do, you ain't rode a horse.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That part. Thank you, Nolly. Thank
I'm gonna
you.
put that on the list for your next excursion.
Right.
That was one.
We're gonna have a
Don't
video
fall
of
off,
this.
please, because we don't need a Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
Make
I
sure
was
you
about
got
to
a
say,
helmet
man,
on and you hold on, put a seatbelt, something.
Yeah, I had to do the podcast.
You should get that motorcycle outfit that, like, it's
Yes.
an airbag. So when you
Nice.
You
fall
need
off,
a rash guard.
Yeah,
You also need
the
someone to
whole
hold your
Jake
horse because I
Gyllenhaal
don't
Bubble
trust
Boy.
you.
Yeah, man.
oh
yeah.
damn, this is messed up. Did you see Marvin? Oh my god, look at the
What
comment.
Marvin say? I can't ride a bike. All right.
That's why I say
All right,
he needs
I
someone to guide
had
his
forgotten.
horse for him.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I just now removed my bandages too, so I'm starting to finally. All right, yeah. All right. I still have bones to break. So yes, if there's any horses out there, volunteer the services. What's up, Tylene?
I just wanted to circle back real quick to the dude Bumpy Lip. So not like I don't know his name.
Sounds like a Harfoot name.
Brand.
All right, so listen, they did allude a little bit when they were on the boat, or the makeshift little thing that they were riding on the raft, that he could possibly like have some royal blood in him. Like it was very subtle, but they when they were talking about where he's from, there may be something there, but the whole reaction and why he reacted the way that he reacted with those gentlemen and attacked them and beat them all up is because one of the things that Galadriel said was, your bloodline is the bloodline that supported the
elves. The elves.
No.
Morgoth.
They didn't support the elves.
Oh, yeah.
They supported the bad guy, Morgoth,
Right.
or whatever his name is.
Morgoth, yeah.
Yeah. So like that's why that he has that rage in him, is because supposedly his bloodline was the bloodline that followed evil. So I think that's what they were trying to show you in that moment, was him tapping into his primal, instincts, which is to be raged and evil. I'm sure we'll see later on what it was like when they joined Morgoth, but yeah, I think that was the point of that whole scene, was to show that.
First of all, fuck the comment section for reminding me that I fell off the whole bike. Like, it's been 3 weeks. I had completely forgotten about it. I hadn't forgotten, obviously, because I still got to get an MRI and everything, but
Damn.
I'd forgotten how painful it was. It's just shit. But anyway, other than that, I'll say this before we move on. One thing that I loved about this particular episode of Lord of Rings of Power, complete with damn, I forgot what Yaz called old boy, but anyway,
Saffron.
Which is one of the things that I love about this episode was how because there was a moment where I kind of was like, I had to pause and I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? I thought this story happened 5,000 years before the stories that we're aware of. And then that's when I realized, oh snap, this is the story that happened 5,000 years. Like at the very beginning of, if you go back and watch the very first, yeah, it was like, it's this weird epiphany, right? If you go back and watch the very first Lord of the Rings that talk about the Fellowship of the Ring, the very first 5 minutes is all backstory. All right. If you recall, the very first 5 minutes is all backstory, talking about how Isildur lost the ring, how he was the one that took the finger off of Sauron, how there were all these battles. It talks about the different rings, the 9 rings, and how they went to different groups of people. And that's what this is. That's what Rings of Power, that's what this story is. It's about the first 5 minutes of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It is going into detail, and it all rang true when they said the word Isildur. Everything went up, and I was like, Isildur? I was like, oh shit! So that's Aragorn's great granddaddy. So now it all makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. They're setting up the world because I'm gonna keep it real. In Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, we stay in Middle Earth. We don't leave Middle Earth. As far as we know, Middle Earth is the whole globe. Now we got this Elven area. We got the Southlands. You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of showing why everything is happening in Middle Earth. How Sauron was able to trick all these folks.
Saffron.
Saffron.
Y'all ain't never gonna let me live that shit down, are you?
I love it. I think it's great.
We love it. Keep it coming. Was able to kind of establish his kingdom and bring it to Middle Earth, which is why Middle Earth is the setting of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So we're watching that happen right now. We're watching the gradual gaining of strength of the Sauron army. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what I believe the intention of this Rings of Power series is. Now, not to cut off on fantasy, because this show is in direct competition, clearly, with the other blonde-headed lead in the House of Dragon this week. And so before we get into some of She-Hulk's lovers, and here's just a real quick preview. She-Hulk's loved a lot of folks, y'all. And so just be thinking of which comic book character hasn't slept with She-Hulk, and we'll discuss that after this. But is it wrong? She should be able to sleep with whoever. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Right now, I ain't gonna lie. I'm wondering what y'all thought about this week's of HOTD. And let's get the comments in this as well. So everybody, you in the comments, man, if you are, do the same thing we're gonna do. We're gonna hold up a finger showing whether it's hold up a thumb. All right, it don't have to be a finger. All right, and show whether you liked it, didn't like it, or if you meh on the fence. All right, let me go ahead and put up an icon. Let's go ahead and give y'all 3 seconds or so. Let's say 3, 2, 1. Comment section, go ahead, fire off. I don't see nobody saying nothing in the comments, man. Y'all it's all good. All right, New Blurred Order, man, what y'all think, man? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it meh? 3, 2, 1, and okay, all right, Ty, you meh on it, bro? You meh?
The Tom jump for me was it was poorly written. That was like, for me, like to jump and go, and we just wind up 3 years later There's a whole kid, like the crab feeder not really tapping into his storyline. And
Yeah.
from what Nolly has told us, the crab feeder in the book was a badass. So to not ever get to see this badass in action, like I want to know why he's all burnt up like that. I want to know why he's disfigured like that. I want to know what his contention is with King's Landing and all of his reasoning behind the stuff that he did. I just thought it was very poorly written. I'm still a fan of the show. Don't get me wrong, but I think the writers took a little bit of a slight fall off in this episode for me.
All right. What about you, Yas? What you think?
I actually really liked this episode just because of the fact that, like, I mean, yeah, it's 3 years later. I don't want to kind of see, like, the King and Allison kind of doing it to make their babies and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see what led to that point. And, you know what I mean? Like, now we're at the second birthday. She's got, I mean, they have, a 2-year-old son, obviously, and that's Aegon. And then now we got like a baby in, the belly also. So we have another Targaryen on the way. You know what I'm saying? So like we're just making this storyline get into the Mad King. So like it's giving me a lot of hope here, because now we're finding out who these kids are and how they're significant in this royal bloodline, and like Rhaenyra's story and this, all of everything. So I know I thought that part was kind of cool, seeing that, and the fact that her and Alicent have still that rivalry of like being best friends, and now that she's also her queen, and the back and forth that they still have. So I thought that was kind of, really good that they threw into there too, that, those two were so close, and now we're still fighting, you know what I'm saying? We're rivaling now. So I think definitely this episode was a little eye-opening, because we definitely got to see Rhaenyra and her anger towards all of, what's happened. Her best friend married her father. Now she has a new little brother, and no one gives a fuck about, her and then her standing. And now basically all she's good for is what? Getting married off. That's what all the women, in this time period are good for. And, like upstanding the, creating the alliances between houses, that bond. So I can understand why she's, very mad. She became heir to the throne just to get married off, to be a prize for another man, and to leave her kingdom. So I can see, definitely her anger and her resentment towards, her family right now, and trying to be a little bit distant. And I liked that, we got to see her father just, sticking up for her, and like with Jason Lannister, when he came up to him and said, like, oh, well, we know that, Aegon is going to be your new heir. And he said, well, when the fuck did I say that? And like he said, you're fucking treason in my kingdom. I need to know about. You're supposed to report that shit. Who the fuck said this? Like, and he's like, whoa, calm down, King. Like, it's not, we're not talking about treason. We're just like, we're figured this was, one of the reasons why. He's like, I didn't say that shit. Tell everyone I didn't fucking say that shit. So I really liked how, even with everything going on, Dad is still like, fuck you. I'm the king. I didn't fucking say my son is the new heir. Rhaenyra is the fucking heir. So I definitely like that. And I loved getting to see this battle unfold a lot more between, just like the dragon and the I didn't like how it ended. I'm not gonna lie, that kind of was shitty. The ending between the Crab King and everything, that was a little bit shitty. I really wanted a good showdown. I was a little disappointed about that, but I did like how the Sea Bearers, I think it was his eldest son, that was, that they're trying to marry off Rhaenyra. He rode a dragon at 16 years old for the first time in fucking battle, and like, that was like an epic moment. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty awesome. This episode definitely had a lot of interesting takes from it, and I thought it was really good, and I really enjoyed a lot of it. And I don't know, I'm excited to see where it's gonna go to, because watching Rhaenyra kill that fucking boar, dog, was boss as fuck. So,
oh my god!
And then just walking. The best part was her walking through like the courtyard, and fucking Jason Lannister's face of just disgust looking at her. She's just like covered in blood. Like, yeah, bitch, I fucking murdered that thing. Yeah, I thought that was dope as hell. And the omen was right. They did get to see the white stag, but it was her who got to see the white stag, and she didn't fucking kill it. She let it go. Remember that. So I'm just saying, these are all just like certain things, I thought were very, very, very awesome and detailed about like how this storyline is like coming into forth, you know?
I think that there's a lot of metaphorical meanings behind what took place, and we'll talk about that. Tyrone, what say you, homeboy?
I'm less enthusiastic about it. I feel like I've changed the way I watch this show now. Like I don't expect out of House of the Dragon what I expect out of like Rings of Power, for example. Now I'm just like, okay, I'm watching it and I'm gonna enjoy it for what it is, but I don't think it's particularly strong. I'm with Ty. I think the time jump in the episode left a lot on the table. Like there was a lot of story to be told there, and I think that's where the show is failing, is that we're not getting deep enough into the stories. They're just trying to get to events, and maybe it's all leading up to something, and maybe my tone will change later on in the season as things start to take more shape. But it seems like what we've got so far, we're going to be moving on from again, because we're going to be getting older versions of some of these characters in this season. So I don't know who to be rooting for, who to be attached to. I'm sure Damon will still be around and stuff, but this episode didn't really hit as hard. I do think some of the positives, I think Viserys and Rhaenyra, I think their dynamic in this episode was stronger than it has been. I think he's becoming more of an interesting character. And there were some good moments, but I think some of the best moments were just conversations. The battle at the Stepstones didn't really do it for me. I have a lot of critique from a military strategy perspective. I think everybody supposedly being such smart, military generals, they were all fucking up left and right. So I was like, oh, y'all spent 3 years scratching your heads and this was your final plan. So I have a lot to be said about that. But overall, I'm still like, I'm in and I'm enjoying it, but just with lowered expectations.
Fair enough. What about you, Nolly?
I'm just going to touch real quick on Roberto's comment about the king missing fingers.
Yes, please.
So we remember in, I think it was the first episode where he's sitting on the throne and he cuts his finger. It actually is an injury that's spreading. You're sitting on a throne of fucking swords, and they didn't think to dull the edges. So basically, like, the king ends up getting an injury from the throne and it spreads. It never heals. And that's a sign of it not healing. It's spread. He's lost some fingers and it'll continuously get worse.
Oh
snap! Okay, yeah, because remember we were all like I know it was everyone's question, like, what the fuck happened to the green thing in his back? You know what I mean? Like, what did we do?
That's part of the throne.
3 years later, and this motherfucker is still alive. You know what I'm saying? And that shit looked like he was about to die, dog. And it was like a gaping fucking hole. I'm just saying.
Like, remember they put maggots.
Yep. They were talking about cauterizing it. Yeah, all kinds of shit. Yeah.
Now, Manali, isn't there like a saying? Isn't there some sort of omen that if you sit on the throne of on the Iron Throne and you cut yourself, then it means you're out for a bad, like,
yeah, it's something like that. And so it's telling, because now he's losing fingers and he probably
he's an amputee.
I'm surprised he could still make babies. I'm surprised he didn't lose that.
Wow.
I had a question for you, Nolly, if you don't mind.
That bloodstream.
Yeah, can I ask Nolly a question? So Nolly, and you don't have to tell us like the actual answer. I just want to know if there is an answer. So having read the books and stuff, do we get an answer on what exactly is happening to his body and as it relates to his injuries from the throne, or is that just kind of something that we just attach meaning to as a viewer, or as a reader, or are they like, this is what's happening? Are we going to get that answered?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, I have a follow-up question. My follow-up question is this going to be the ultimate, like, Viserys is going to be the ultimate reason and why we got rid of all of the extra swords?
Yo. Now, see, that's a spoiled question.
That's not a spoiled question.
Like that. That's okay. So in the end, does he live, or like, I don't know if that one.
All right. I'll say that one for later. Her eyes are telling me what I want to know, so I'm good.
Okay. All right. Whoa. Damn. All right. Cool, there it is.
All right.
Here's another thing that we haven't really talked about is why the fuck, like, All right. So before we had last week, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but we had like a little debate with Tyrone over whether or not George R. Which one of these RRs is evidently if you write big novels, you have to have two initials for your middle name, and they have to be railroad initials. And we were talking about like how it's George R.R. Martin's obsession with incest that keeps that kind of deterring that Tyrone is wondering like why. And we see it rear its head again in this episode. Like the dude tried to marry his sister. They tried to marry Rhaenyra off to Aegon, like his brother. I was so happy that Viserys was like, first of all, I'm mad at his response. His response should have been, that's her fucking brother. but it wasn't. It was, he's only 2.
You know how the Kardashians be.
I was about to say that, like, you know, they be keeping that bloodline royal,
because
and that's
his parents were brother and sister. So,
oh my God! Like, so I mean, this is an incestuous world. I mean, the fact that it was even offered up as a suggestion shows that there is a level of even when there's this one guy who I don't know if this guy's going to be more significant, Nolly, or not. But there's a guy who came up to him and is basically giving him what sounded like sound advice. It's like, look, man, I ain't trying to offer. He's like, oh, let me guess. You want me to, you wanted to marry your son. She's like, no. Here's somebody you could consider. It's the son of the sea snake or something like that. And he's like, here's what's cool. Yeah, he was actually the cousin to your cousin. And it's like that's a selling point. Like, that's one of the things that makes this attractive.
Keeping the bloodline pure, though. That's what they're thinking. That's what their whole thing is about. Keeping the bloodline pure.
That's literally what it is. But the fact of the matter is, like, it becomes interesting now because now we're talking about. And here's another thing that the audience, the viewers, should be clear of. If you're not using closed caption when you're watching, it could be very easy to get confused between Valarian and Valerian.
Yeah.
Because they sound and look almost exactly the same. Yep. And they are not. Okay. So I wish they hadn't chose such like names that are so close to each other. But please correct me if I'm wrong, Nolly. All right. So these are people of Valarian descent, right? These are folks that are Valarian, but they are Valyrian in where they lived, and why and that's why they have so much access to Valyrian armor, Valyrian steel, Valyrian XY, and Valyrian is like the vibranium of this world. So somebody in this house is up for marriage, and they're trying to kind of get Rhaenyra interested in the prospect of that, because not only will that give her a husband, which evidently you can't live without in this age, but also it brings Corlys back into the fold, because we know that he was already mad that he didn't marry his 12-year-old daughter, and it's been like 3 years, so she's probably 15 now. But now if she marries, and then that ties them back together in the house. So that's a whole thing that's happening. The other thing that we could talk about real quick is what actually happened in this. And this is why I actually frankly disagree with Tyrone completely on this episode being slow. And I watched it again.
I didn't say it was slow. I just want to put that out there.
Okay, all right.
Don't be slandering me, Vince.
All right, my bad.
I will sue you.
He said it was trash. Is what he said. No, he did not. He didn't say that either. But the criticism of it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but here, let me just say this. When I watched it again, it was a very well-rounded episode, and here's why. It starts off with the conflict and it ends with the same conflict. And I like, and that to me is a sign of good writing. I know y'all didn't like the time jump, but I don't think we needed to see what happened within that 3 years. We're gonna see them getting their asses beat by dudes that running to their caves. I mean, it's clear that there was nothing significant other than the baby latching onto the teat and beef between Rhaenyra and her homegirl. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the only thing that we may get is the fact that there was a little bit of a budding romance between the two of these folks, right? Or between these two characters. Yep. What did happen in this episode, however, was we saw the very beginning. I thought it was extremely significant. Like, I don't know if y'all people this. there's a dude. It starts off with the Crab King, Mr. Krabs, whatever the fuck,
Mr. Krabs.
Crab feeder, yeah.
We starts out with he's about to kill like a member of Damon's army.
Yep.
He nails him to a plank. And he's putting the crabs on him so effortless, like just throw a couple crabs on him. He's like, fuck you all, mother, and your bastard father. And then all of a sudden, a dragon comes out, and the dude is like, yes, my king. He comes to say, boop, and he steps right on this motherfucker. Yep. Now it's been since Sunday, so these ain't spoilers. If you ain't watched this shit yet, you don't want to watch it. All right. He steps right. So that I think was significant to say, look, he's not concerned about his people. He just wants this crown. Like he's doing all of this shit because he wants to secure this crown. What's up, Jazz?
You know what Austin said? Austin said the dragon don't give a fuck about this dude laying here screaming for his king. He's just like eating people and shit. I was fucking dying. And as soon as he said that, the dragon just like threw one up and was just like eating him. And yeah, it was really fucked up. I was like, damn, he could have saved him. He's like, he ain't worried about that nigga. He's collateral damage.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Austin didn't say that, But whatever happens in the house is, whatever. But you're 100% right. So what we learned at the very beginning is that these strategies, I mean, despite them having an army, one of the toughest brands of steel and armor, having a dragon, they can't beat these assholes that keep running into their caves. And so finally at the very end, they decide, look, man, this shit ain't working. How are we going to make this work? They're like, all right, the only way we can make this work is if we offer up what he calls a blood sacrifice. As he's saying that, the dragon lands. And then here comes Damon. Damon reads the plan. Damon sees the plan. He's like, all right, I'll do it. Cool. Let's run up. I'm with it. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. I ain't got nothing to live for. No way. Fuck it. I'm down. I'm sorry.
I just want to correct you real quick. The thing that he was reading was from.
I know that's not what he's reading. That's the letter from the. I was gonna get to that, but sorry. Go ahead. You can still.
Oh, no. You know. I was just gonna remind you. You sound like you know.
Okay. Now, also, as I was leading into, while as Damon accepts this suicidal plan, which that's basically what it is. I mean, they're basically sitting there like, look, bro, we got to offer up somebody, and it could have been anybody, but they're like, Damon's like, fuck, all right, I'll do it. As he's learning how he's gonna do this shit, he gets a letter from Viserys because he sends it as one of his advisors. His hand is noted that it's going to be advantageous. Even his wife has noted that it will be advantageous. She says, quote, would it be advantageous for the Crab King to thrive or to be, stomped out or something like that, paraphrasing. So he's like, all right, well, fine. Let me go ahead and lend a couple of dollars to this little war or whatever. Sends him a letter and he beats the shit out of the messenger. Like, he's like, how dare you do your job and deliver me? Like, that's where don't kill the messenger comes from. They sit there and watch this dude beat his ass because his brother delivered. I mean, his brother delivered him this message, and he's like, fuck you, asshole. We've been out here for 3 years. All right, our man been dying shit. So if I killed myself, and now you want to come in and try to reap glory from the shit? Hold on, I'll be right back. Hold my beer. And then he goes over there and single-handedly draws out the Crab Kings and Queens and all of the others and the D's and the Days, and they come out and finally bim. I mean, he kind of tricks them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? He's like, all right, I'll surrender. And the guy's like, oh, for real? For real? Like, you surrender for real? He's like, dude, yeah, I swear, man. Just come on out, man. It's cool, man. It's like, all right, you sure? Everything cool? He's like, yeah, man, just come on out, man. Just everything's cool. This is death. You know what I'm saying? So that's significant. I mean, that storyline, what we learned at the end of this is that more than likely Damon now not only has Crab, what's the name? Dragonstone, or what's the name of that place? Stepstone. Mm-hmm. But now he also has the full backing of the Valyrian army, the full backing of all of that area, and now he also has his own territory in addition to Dragonstone. So Daemon is now becoming a force to be reckoned with. And one thing we learned from the original Game of Thrones story is that those who try to do the right thing end up getting fucked up. And it sounds like this king, despite him marrying his daughter's best friend, is trying to do the right thing in some instances, and those things list not necessarily putting his brother on, giving his brother the throne. It also not forcing his daughter to marry. Things like that. Ty, what's up?
Yeah, this is kind of what Damon said in like I think the first episode when he kind of was talking to Viserys and explaining to him why he didn't think he was a really good king.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was kind of for these reasons. And I still think as much as Damon does want the throne because he feels like it's owed to him because him being the brother, he's the natural heir. I still do not feel as though he's going to go to war with his brother. Like I still don't get that idea that he's going to go to war with his brother. Like I feel like, to Nolly's point, that Viserys will die on Viserys's own, because those cuts are not getting any better. You're losing body parts. It's only about you even see in this episode 3 years for Viserys looks like he's aged 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like that. Those 3 years were not good to Viserys. He looks old as hell in those 3 years time. So you can tell. And I said this to Tyrone. This episode is more about his mortality and more about him trying to right his wrongs. He's like the whole episode is based around the conflict that he's going throughout the whole episode. Everybody wants him to do it's emotion versus duty, right? His duty to the realm is to name Aegon the heir because that is the way and the expectation of all of the men in the realm. That's the expectation. But he has this love for Rhaenyra and also a backstory to that because he's now told Alicent of this prophecy that has been said about a Targaryen, and he's referring to Rhae. So then we see all of that culminate at the end of the episode by just confirming what he said to Alicent about the premonition or the prophecy rather. So and I guess that was what they established was the White Hart, the representation of it, right? The White Hart only comes to bless the naming of an heir, right? Or something like that, or the next king or something like that to that degree. And we see the White Hart that they have been hunting the entire episode, mind you, that they weren't able to locate, pulls up on Rhae. And it's kind of just that confirmation right there that she is the true heir that the prophecy speaks of.
Nolly, interesting, because I'm watching this whole thing and I had a different interpretation of that whole entire White Hart. I mean, I do agree with what Ty said, that it is an indication that she is the true. But it also is representative of the fact that the king is going to have to make a tough decision, and that is with the wrong heir. Like what happens is they say, "Hey, look, there's a white hart available." That we've heard was sighted. And he's like, "Oh snap!" Now if he's able to kill that, which is what he wants, then everything is well. But that's not what ends up happening. Now he has the decision when that happens to say, "Nah, fuck that, white stag only." But he's like, "All right, well, fuck it. We're here now. I mean, let me just go ahead and get this shit out the way." And I think that that's kind of like his. It's so indicative of what he's really feeling. Like Tyrone, everybody behind him is saying, "Look, man, here's the stag, man. Here's the heart. I mean, it's not the white one, but fuck it. It's something. We got something. And in order to please everybody, he kind of does it. He doesn't even do it well. He does it reluctantly. He has to be told, "Look, man, do it again." He's like, "All right, fine, fuck it." You know what I'm saying? By the way, this not the best episode for PETA or any animal lovers. If you like things like pigs and deer, watched with extreme prejudice, because there will be violence. So it kind of, and even if you watch like the after segment, it kind of alludes to the fact that this stuff was representative. Oh, I'm getting one of them cramps. I'm getting one of them cramps. I'm getting one of them cramps.
Not one of those.
You need to drink more water.
I'm saying, drink some more water, man.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, shit.
This is what happens when you spend too much time riding horses on the beach, Vince. You're gonna get those horse cramps, man.
You don't drink water, you ride bikes.
Come on, dog. My leg just was like, hey, enough. Me, attention. So yeah, is that your interpretation too? Like the stags in this episode represented the heirs, right? And what each person, how they reacted to them is how they feel about the heir, right? For Viserys, he's like, look, whatever my people tell me to do, whatever is going to hurry up and get this done, whatever is the least uncomfortable is whatever it is that I should do. Whatever makes everybody happy. Meanwhile, Rhaenyra is like, oh wow, that stag should be able to make its own decisions and should do whatever it wants. It should roam free, and we should be able to enjoy its free beauty without killing it. Nolly?
I don't know how to phrase it without giving story away. But it's definitely indicative of what happens with the line of succession, and definitely gives us a better view on what the king will be like in his final years. And I'm gonna stop there because I know my ass gonna say something.
Yeah. All right. Well done. Thank you. Wow, it's so weird to not be like me and Yaz, who are inadvertent spoilers. Like, we'll be like, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but when the king died at the end, I was just like, and we was
okay,
like, what?
I just
look at the concern on my face.
Look, my autistic ass, once I hyperfixate and I get excited about something, and I know you like it too, I will start talking, and then they'll stop me and they'll be like, so I'm actually on the second book, and I know there's 10 books, but you done told me the whole thing, and I'm like, shit, I did it again.
Well, just give me a warning so I can put up my little spoiler alert thingy if I can get to here it is. Spoiler alert. Speaking of spoiler alert, thanks for not spoiling it. And one thing that will spoil this before we go over to She-Hulk is Game of Thrones. So if you want to know what's going to happen, or some tea leaves, some may want to get a couple hints as to what may happen, you may just go back and watch Game of Thrones because they talk a lot about the history. And I'm a little nervous because after rewatching it, some of the things Yaz has indicated, it appears that we may be seeing a live action version of a story that was told by one of the characters in one of the original seasons. I won't spoil it, even though it's already out, and had been out for years. But that's the whole thing. So, what's up, Ty?
I just want to say, like, this episode gave us, I think, is kind of rounding out who the real players in this story are going to be. I mean, we got our first Lannister, we got House Stark. Yep. We've already been introduced in the first episode to House Baratheon. Like we have
the two Baratheon boys.
Yep. Yeah, we have the Baratheons. We have the High Towers. We have the Valerians. And of course, we have our Targaryens. So I think this episode is kind of rounded out all of those players, and it's like, okay, let's introduce this one. Let's kind of see, like not giving us too much, but just like kind of giving us like, now let's just meet this character. Let's meet a Jason Lannister. Let's meet, the House Stark. Let's meet these individuals. Let's meet Corlys Valerion's son, who, by the way, has his own dragon named Sea Smoke. Can we give the Valerians a little credit for coming up with better names for their dragons? Because if I get a dragon, I'm definitely naming them Sea Smoke. That's for sure.
Yeah. I wonder why. Yeah, that's a pretty. Yeah, well, I mean, you're right. You're probably right, man. That Game of Thrones has been known to, the franchise has been known to throw all kind of, just random shit. So I wouldn't be surprised if this Crab King character who just got killed gets replaced by another, entity. And that's another player that we just haven't been made aware of. So we'll definitely be keeping our eyes peeled for what's going to happen next week. I got to say, here's my quick question before we go over to She-Hulk. What, real quick, just, I don't know how to ask this because there's no thumbs up or thumbs down, but right now, would y'all say, are y'all enjoying more the House of the Dragon or the Rings of Power? I know what I think, and it's changed since last week. But I don't know. Just rest on that for a little bit. Maybe you need a little time to think about it. Maybe we'll come back to it. That'll be our Steph Way question of the day in her absence. Hope all is well, Steph. But for now, man, we got to jump into your homegirl, into what has been defined as a very serious, non-bad, not poor CGI at all lawyer show. And that's what we this week. Yeah, man. Well, listen, She-Hulk is not a virgin anymore. I believe She-Hulk smashed her first victim. My man was looks like a member of the BIPOC community. All he had to do was listen. Fellas, take note. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, real quick, man, let's go ahead and see how we all felt about this week's She-Hulk episode. I'm gonna go ahead and put something up on the screen. And then this wasn't it this week, by the way. This wasn't it. We didn't see this week. But let's see how we felt about this week. So on the count of three, guys, we'll go ahead and bring this down in the comment section. Y'all follow along with this. Thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you hated it. Meh if you ain't feel no kind of way whatsoever. Let's go ahead and get them hands up. 1, 2, 3. Oh, shoot. Look at that. A unanimous board. All right, man. But Tyrone's got 2 thumbs up. Tyrone, man, why you love this episode, homeboy?
Yeah, it's hilarious. Just great, solid comedy. Just really, really funny. Also, if that dude was a victim, then please victimize me. Like, absolutely victimize me. But no, it's good. Like, they're just leaning so hard into just the absolute goofiness of all of it. She-Hulk is a funny and just out there character, and they're just letting that be. It's great. Also, shout out to Madison. Madison coming through and stealing the show. She was absolutely hilarious. Like everybody who gets a chance, who gets even just a little chance to shine, is doing such a great job. And yeah, Donnie Blaze. I mean, that was ridiculous. I like how they teased us with that name, like just messing with us, because they know exactly what we were gonna think as soon as they said that name.
Yep.
Yeah, just overall, just such a fun episode. I enjoyed every moment of it. It's a good time.
Tyrone, what exactly were we going to think when we heard Johnny Blaze?
Johnny Blaze.
Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is who? Ghost. Okay. Ghost.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That was one of the 2 acceptable answers. The other one would have been Method Man.
Hold up.
Yeah.
I would Method Man as a correct answer. All right. Cool. Nala, you had 2 thumbs up too.
It was funny. It was so good. And I'm a sucker for Wong. So anytime you show up, I know it's gonna be a good time. So I love you, Wongers. You bring it every time.
Wongers.
Look, Madison was great. I would pay to see a spin-off one-shot episode of Wongers and Madison just chilling. Like they were giving. She-Hulk, okay, with her little man's there. There's a reason why I'm a power lifter, okay? I'm just trying to throw him down and call him baby girl. You know what I'm saying? So I was here for that. I was glad she finally, let her whole flag fly, because people out in the streets upset about it when that's how she is in the comics and they just need to accept it. But she was doing her thing and I was here for it. Yes, girl.
All right. What about you, Ty?
I have to agree with everybody else, man. This episode was pretty funny. I like, there was moments where I was just like, yo, they're showing Wong at like I needed this. I needed to see Wong chilling at home watching the fucking Sopranos.
Right.
Like, yo, I was like, yo, Wong just be chilling. Yo, and then the whole like dialogue, like the post credit, like when they was just in there like talking about the alcohol and drinking and all of that, yo, and just I really had fun this episode. I've already locked in, accepted the fact that this is always going to have another major co-star to be in this show. And it's and I love the fact that even Marvel has tapped into that part and understood what they were doing. They're fully accepting of it. Like last week, I thought it might just have been like just a isolated event, but then she comes right back down this episode and doubles down again. I know you guys love Wong. I know.
She called him Twitter armor.
So it's and then we got Madison. So Madison looks like if I'm looking at what I'm looking at, which is the casting, Madison may have a recurring role on the show moving forward. So all those Madison fans, what's her name, Patty Guggenheim, she might be here to stay, man. So good show.
Can we just talk about the whole the devil goat thing, taking 6 drops of blood? Like, was that a Mephisto kind of cameo into this bad boy? Because that definitely had Mephisto fucking vibes on it, and I was like, I'm totally here for it if that's what it is.
Oh Lord, oh God, Ty, we'll ask you, Ty. Was that Mephisto or Jesus? Oh my God,
I've been trying to bring Mephisto into the MCU since WandaVision. So I would probably say, hell yeah, that's Mephisto. Are you kidding me? Who else could it be? Maybe Ultron?
This dude saw Mephisto in the Obi-Wan reboot. He's seen it in cross cultures. It's all over the place. But yeah, man, I would dare say that I don't know about a recurring character. I think that she can overstay her welcome if it's overdone. But a web series where her and Wong, for 5 minutes at a time, just sit on the couch and talk shit. I'm for that. If they can put out 5-minute group snippets, then they can do Madison does, hey, so I'm watching this Inferior thing, and I don't know, what are the gems? How many rhinestones are, what I'm saying? I can see it. What's up, Tyrone?
I got a better team up for Madison, more appropriate team up. Remember the guy who was in Spider-Man Homecoming, but also Shang-Chi, who was filming the fight on the bus? I feel like those two would be perfect together.
Oh my God,
it would be such a hilarious, team up kind of thing.
Dude,
yes. Yeah.
Yes.
What about Homie from Ant-Man?
Sorry?
The way he talks to him and Madison?
Yeah.
I didn't hear. What did you say, Nolly? What was the suggestion?
The homie from Ant-Man.
Michael Pena.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Even Tia.
Me and Madison were kicking it, and
hold up.
Wonger showed
I don't know why y'all not respecting Wong's player, because y'all acting like that's not already taken. Listen, Madison and Wongers is a thing.
No,
that's the thing, okay?
Wonger's going to be pretty busy, though.
Don't let the age difference fool you. Wong and Madison got a good thing going. You know what I mean? So,
look at his face. He looks so displeased.
That's his lady. That's his lady.
No, he's dad. He's dad. He's got a supervisor.
Oh my God.
No,
you do not.
God damn it. Left me with the fucking teenager again. That's what
So yeah, it says he's dad.
Dad.
Yeah, it says he's dad. Ty says he's daddy. And figure out which one it is.
Yo, come on, bro. Nah, man. Yo. One thing for sure. I just want to reiterate how I also the breaking the fourth wall isn't too much. She does it once an episode, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she's doing the Deadpool 2 cam talk every single time. It's a one quick thing she says to the camera, and then that's it for the whole episode, which is refreshing. And she normally, this week, it was, I love Wong. He's giving us Twitter, Twitter armor for a week, which they definitely needed after last week, because all it was She-Hulk twerk, She-Hulk this, She-Hulk that, which I find a little bit disconcerting. I know we already did this segment last week where we talked about, I just want to use this before I delete them, you know what I'm saying? So let me just go ahead and throw these up there real quick. But the one thing that I thought was interesting outside of the storyline which was basically, She-Hulk. Ouch, 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 cramp. I'm not sitting over here no more. I'm not sitting here no more. Yo.
Why you don't have a cup of water next
Stretch
to
your
you?
damn legs
I
out,
don't know.
dog. Like,
Eat a banana.
I'm sorry.
Just set some alarms to drink
text
some
Kiki
water.
and ask her to bring you a banana.
Oh my god! Yo. What I need is a hammock. That's what I
No.
need. I need to
First of all, this is
Like,
over
Kiki,
30.
water and bananas. Thank you.
Oh no, it looks like we lost Ty for a little bit. All right, well, he'll probably be back. Well, yeah, man. So, aside from the storyline here, which it looks like, She-Hulk is starting to be more comfortable in her skin as She-Hulk, which is one of the things that we're seeing here. And one of those things is her, starting to date. Like she goes on to this website, to one of these apps, and decides to make a Twitter or some sort of profile for herself. And she finds herself having a lot more success in the dating realm. I mean, people, which is testing people's I don't see color moniker out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we done turned the whole what are they? I don't even use these sites.
They call it Matcher.
Matcher,
Tinder, but all that stuff. Yeah,
everybody on Matcher is Captain Kirk. You know what I'm saying? It's just we don't see color. In this one, though, outside of the main storyline, which we know was Donnie Blaze and with Madison and her actually practicing law as a superhero, which I think was ultimately the goal here, was to get her practicing law as She-Hulk. That's new. Was the underlying story of She-Hulk just trying to have a good old-fashioned dating freaking sex life. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that this was fascinating. First of all, shout out to the homie Adam, who did appear. Disregard that date at the bottom of it was accident. But Adam Murray, who once again, spoiler alert, is in the MCU in 2 different MCU episodes. This dude is, man. So this dude is killing it. And I heard he's also in Cobra Kai. Now he's in Stranger Things. This dude is killing it right now. And he has agreed to join us next week. So next week we'll get to speak to Adam Murray about his experience on the She-Hulk set. He had an actual scene with Tatiana, like a dialogue. It wasn't one line, it was a dialogue back and forth. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think that it's interesting that She-Hulk slept with the character in this episode. I'm almost happy that the internet didn't blow up about it. I don't know if it did or not. I didn't look at it, but I just know that from what I'm reading, Nolly, She-Hulk is no stranger to sex. Maybe I should say
notches on her bedpost. I mean, she got so many notches, her bedpost is probably gone. So
exactly.
So, girl.
We ain't slut shaming.
We not. Go ahead. I'm proud of you.
Also, I mean, it was a defining piece of Tony Stark's personality that he was a playboy and stuff. So why not spread the love?
Playboy, philanthropist,
wow,
billionaire.
Yep. Playboy, philanthropist, billionaire. Literally, we would see things like this, and we never heard about it. So I'm actually kind of happy because I actually thought that there might be a little bit of she's carrying a man. And I think people are finally starting to kind of get that this is meant to be really silly. It's not supposed to drive your week. All right. I know our counterpart, Stephanie, if I may quote, I hate to speak with her not being here, but Stephanie's not as feeling, she's not feeling the show as much, but not because of her character. I think she just thinks that the show itself isn't, out the par. But as for me, I like this show because I like comedy, and this show feels to be the perfect marriage of comedy, action, superhero stuff, and dare I even say maybe even a little bit of romance. I don't know, Sam. But let's keep it real. Ty, what's up, Ty?
I just wanted to say, like, I wanted to applaud the fact that they're letting She-Hulk, explore her sexuality and go have a good time, because she is an adult. She is a hardworking woman. She should have her opportunity to go and do whatever she wants to do, as long as she's being responsible. Just whatever you do, She-Hulk, please stay away from this guy. Like, whatever you do, just stay away from this guy. And we'll be fine.
Oh, okay. Now listen, what guy are you talking about? Who are you talking about? You?
I don't know. This guy.
Halbrand.
Oh,
My poor man's
you
was going
put that up.
through it.
That was a typo. I was like, how did they get on the screen?
Typo.
I don't know how the gas price is too high for her to get to Middle Earth from Burbank. Homeboy. She had to learn how to fly. Yeah, she's not jumping and all that. But I just want to say, like, it's cool because when She-Hulk does, come to life, you want to see what comic book characters, what comic book fans typically like is to see the character represent the way they are represented in the comic book. And She-Hulk was no stranger in the comics. All right, let's just go down the list real quick. All right, of a couple of folks that She-Hulk has, let's just say, had relations with. All right, one of the biggest men of all to join this list is a man named Juggernaut. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Juggernaut. He was in the last Deadpool movie. Dude is also like a major X-Men villain.
Professor Xavier's brother.
Professor X's brother.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
exactly.
As on his boobies when he's running.
That's why he wears the helmet.
Yeah, to keep. Yeah, right. Okay. All right. Of course.
It was the strap. That's what it was for.
With the strap. All right. All that. Exactly. Everything that y'all just said. Wow. All right. We're gonna pretend. Of course, I know all of that. Obviously.
Yeah. You're so smart, Vince.
I'm a freaking huge.
Look at you on it.
I do remember that, but I had forgot about that. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. All right. Anyway, other than Juggernaut, man, your boy Tony Stark can get it too, man. As a matter of fact, this is a recurring theme. I'd like to come back to that one a little bit later.
Eyes googling in that comic.
Eyes googling, you say?
They're weird. Yeah, some artists. It is crazy. Like when you read comics, like some artists are just like not good at certain things, and you're just like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to point that out. My bad.
No, it's definitely a conversation.
I was like, oh, this bitch, how could you look at her that close?
Yeah, no, that's a conversation that like is had definitely.
Yeah, even his eyes.
Tony laid it down. That's why she was looking like that.
Go back. His eyes look good in the first look, and her eyes look good in the second look. His is fucked up in the first. Hers are fucked up in the second.
Damn, yo. Yes.
Sorry.
All right. Well, we know those two, man, and we're gonna come back to that Tony Stark one because that's significant, especially the text on it. But yes, our very own God himself, Thor, older Thor, but still, yeah, man, she got it down with Thor, bruh. You already talked about Star Fox, so Star Fox is on that list as well. Evidently, Luke Cage got it, and Luke Cage got it while he was a client. That's like you're not supposed to be fucking your clients, Tatiana, Jennifer. All right, calm down. Evidently, Sammy Davis Jr. Was in there. So I don't know this. I don't know this guy. Tony Stark again.
That might be Namor.
Namor, I don't know who it is. We've got Hercules on that list. Even she crossed over, man, and went to Superman, which doesn't even make any sense. She even hit up Deadpool, yo. You know what I'm saying? Deadpool got it. And he was a whole zombie when he got it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna keep it real. She's not actually fucking him. I think she does like to kiss people. That's something that was in the comics. But this text on this particular in this comic, I think was kind of one of the things that Marvel is looking to tackle while this show is running. Mm-hmm. And this is the double standard, the ongoing debate between a woman's body count and a man's body count, one being glorified, one being shameful. And I think that She-Hulk is trying to jump into this debate. And basically, she has this conversation with Tony Stark. And I quote, Tony, how do you get away with it? With what? Sleeping around. Said and she said, isn't it a double standard? She says, when you do it, everyone calls you a player. When I do it, they call me a skank. And that's one of her concerns. Like, she's I mean, look, if Hulk wants you, we can do it two ways, the easy way or the hard way. And she's probably going to get what she wants. You know what I'm saying? Dude didn't have to fight her off when she was walking away. So I guess, are we at that point right now where since we didn't have a lot of complaints, I didn't see as much issues this week. Are we now finally accepting the fact that a woman can be just as sexually oriented as a man without having to worry about being shamed, sex shamed, kinked shamed as being a hoe, being a slut, or anything other than just a free woman who wants to do with her body what she wants, Nolly? Can you tell me, are we at that point in life, or we still got a long way to go?
We got a long way to go because they had a problem with her twerking, and that's just dancing. So I think this episode kind of went under the radar with that because we had a lot of shit going on this week. Like the queen died, and Black Twitter was going off. I was scrolling for hours. It was great. But Twitter was busy doing other things, so I didn't really see complaints there. So I think this week was just too busy for everybody to just sit and complain about it. But we got a long way to go because if twerking was a problem, I'm sure someone's going to pick this up and be like, if she does it again, she's whore, you know?
Good point. Good point. What you think, Tyrone? You think everybody's just too busy, or you think that folks is like, oh, so what? She-Hulk got some ass, big deal.
You know, I'm surprised there wasn't really much talk about it, but I think is happening is that it's a possibility that the trolls are just getting tired. They're like, every week, gotta just give me a break. Like maybe a lot of them stopped watching. If so, great, because then we don't have to hear your bullshit. But yeah, I think it's just that people are just like, all right, fine, we're here. But you know, just as a society, I think that we've gotten to a point, and it's granted we still need to do a lot of work, but I think as a society we're very much understanding that that double standard has long been a thing. And is you know, just a symptom of our, you know, patriarchal society, and it's something that needs to be forgotten about, dismantled, and just let people be people and do what they want to do.
That's how you feel, Ty? You think that hey, shoot, man, women, men, yo, your thing is your thing. Do what you want to do, and enough of the judgment for it. Or should women be like, yo, look, man, it's easier for y'all to get laid, so y'all should be more conservative with it. So calm down.
Is it easier for y'all to get laid than women?
No, I'm saying it's easier for women to get, like, that was the whole there was this whole omen that a man said is like, why if a man has sex with a bunch of women, then it's considered like being a player, it's celebrated, and if a woman does it, then it's like shamed. And then the ancient proverb is, all right, well, if a key can open every lock, then that key is special. But if a lock opens for every key, then it's a shitty lock or some shit like that. You know, I'm not trying to justify it. That's not my stand.
He's probably one of those men who thought if she slept with more people, it would stretch out. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I think that key and lock thing, I think the lesson to take away there is don't fuck doors.
Honestly, it sounds like it hurts. I'm sure things would get stuck.
Or maybe it was more like the right key will fit in the right lock kind of thing. You know?
Well, listen, this is a lot. This could take hours. We only have 6 minutes. But what's up, Ty?
I just wanted to say that, you know, the funny thing about all of this conversation that we're having around this, right, is that all of you guys assume that she had sex.
Right.
Like, one of the things that I think they were deliberate about doing is not showing you whether she did or not.
Right.
Like, they didn't show her waking up in the bed next to him. They showed her out there making breakfast and him coming out with all his clothes that he went in the room with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
He's right. They left it.
Like, that leaves that to your assumption that they had sex. There was nothing that said that they had sex. They could have went in the room and went to sleep together. But there's nothing. What I'm saying is, typically in shows like, but they'll have, like, you'll wake up in the bed. They'll at least wake up in the bed together, and then you know that something happened. Like, one doesn't have clothes on, or hey, where's my pants? All he's asking for is the same shirt that he was looking for when he went in the room the night before. So, like, I'm just saying, it's that's where the mind goes. Is we're having this whole conversation about sex because the comic book shows all of the adventures that she's had, but in this case, they were deliberate about that. They didn't show that she had sex. We just assumed that she did.
I figured that was Disney Plus being Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. I know that they're trying to kind of be a little more adult now, but I just figured that was
Disney Plus shows Disney Plus shows like mothers and fathers.
I haven't seen Disney Plus show anybody in the bed together yet.
Really? You've never watched Cheaper by the Dozen?
No. I'm talking about Marvel. I'm
talking about Disney.
I don't think
I'm talking about Disney or Marvel.
No, I don't think this was supposed to. It was supposed to be anything but like they went and had a good night, probably had sex, but they didn't show it, and so it's not confirmed. But like I think that they want us to be like, okay, the obvious conclusion here is blah blah blah. Yeah. So I don't we're probably not going to see a lot of sex scenes in Marvel thing. The only time we've seen one was in Eternals, and that people were like, oh my god, I've never seen such things before, and they were just like kissing on top of each other. But it's fun. But in my mind, it is very possible that they went to bed, and they got to second base, and maybe he started crying a little bit. It happens, you know what I mean? And then
it happens.
Yeah, it happens to all of us, right, guys?
No.
She did have brain or some type of gook all over her face, like all over her head.
Yeah, demon blood.
She did pull the shit right off. And he was under her like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe something changed when they got in the room.
Well, look, man, it's safe to say, man, we unanimously, I'm glad that we finally, for once, man, all agreed that She-Hulk, man, is just a good show. I mean, yes, it is terrible CGI. Yes, the CGI needs to be fixed, and hopefully by next season, it's up to par. But this season, I mean, the show, the writing, it's pretty much.
I can't.
No, we're not going to do that. What we will talk about is what I speculate is more than likely going to be next week's cameo, which it has to be Daredevil at this point, right? I mean, they've been teasing that all this time. We only got like 2 more episodes left. Daredevil has to show up.
We have 5 left.
We have 5 left? Are you serious?
It's a 9-episode season. Yeah.
What?
Last. Okay.
Hercules. I'm cool with that. So Daredevil has to show up, man. I mean, there are two superpowered beings practicing law in the same, metropolitan city. So I anticipate we'll probably see him. And who knows, man? Other folks. We didn't talk about the Andor coming. We also didn't talk about whatever the dude's name, Ardon. The Rings of Power, the dude that showed up at the very end of it. Yeah. Adar. All right, we didn't talk about that. There's a whole bunch of things we didn't talk about. We also didn't get a chance to talk about something I wanted to talk about, which is Mr. Giancarlo Esposito. I don't want to say forcing himself, because look, we love him. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's getting a little ahead of himself with basically speaking himself into the position. I don't think everybody's.
He's visible in that shit.
He's putting it out first, okay? He's trying to get that synergy. All right.
He's doing it.
I am Professor X. Okay.
I'll walk you through it. Ty.
We definitely got to chat about this.
Let's do another 30 minutes after this.
I got some choice. Yeah,
let's do 30 minutes after this, man. Let's chat it up a little more, man. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up, man, because we're about to run out of time. Once again, man, big shout out to Steph, man. I know you're not feeling that well today, but of course you're always in our hearts, minds, and souls. Who am I? It's not that serious. So hope things get better for you. And thank you always for those of y'all who are watching us on whatever outlet that may be, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know. We're not on Instagram.
Twitch, YouTube.
Twitter. We are on Twitter now. YouTube, especially for anybody who's not watching us on YouTube, just know that that's the preferred place for you to watch us. And also put on those reminders and notifications. And make sure y'all tune in with us next week. I don't know. We might even play some video games today. I don't know if we were supposed to play them last week. I'm ready this week. I got it downloaded.
Snap.
See what happens. But for right now, guys, just make sure that you all are your own authentic. Oh, shoot. Real quick. One announcement. 2 announcements. Make sure y'all check out Multiverse every single Wednesday. This Wednesday coming up with Minnie, Holly, Ty, and Tyrone. And check us out next week where we will be joined by our special guest, She-Hulk star himself, Mr. Adam Murray, whose picture isn't coming up to the screen soon enough. There it is. All righty, cool. But as always, guys, like I said, be yourself, be your authentic self. If you're not, then you're being fake. Come join us after this in the group or on YouTube or on Twitch. where we'll be talking more about some of this stuff for an extended period of time. And if you was a geek in real life, don't be ashamed. Go ahead, bro. Let that geek flag fly. That's the right one. Okay.
I just really hate Zangief, only Ken and Ra. Do I find it hard to be Blanca? Keep a wee ninja hanging and our uncle album banging. If you negative in energy, then stay out the vicinity of. Yeah, them niggas over there. Yeah, now look at what I wear.